Oh, it is. It is a Friday episode. And my week's just getting started, and the week is also ending at the same time. It's a Friday episode of Donno Daily here on the Five Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno. I'm with you for the next hour or so. It's good to be back. I know I'm already getting bantered by my guy Brooklyn Rob, and I guess this is deserved, or at least half deserved. All hail return of the mush, he says. That's me. I'm the mush. Guy spends a week in Jamaica. Yeah, that was middle of February. And then a week on jury duty. That was this week, Monday through Thursday. I actually was on a trial. I think we all need to question his commitment. If he was dedicated, he would have found a way to stream from court. Yeah, I got to tell you, and it was a civil case. It was a lawsuit. I was the jury foreman. So the other jurors somehow felt enough faith in me to make me their leader, which I was honored. I was honored. And yeah, before I went into jury duty, because I did tweet about it a little bit. I think I mentioned it on my shows like last Friday that, hey, just so you know, guys, on Friday I said I'll be at jury duty on Monday. And I think most people, because this is usually how it goes, I've done jury duty before. Most people end up reporting on Monday, not getting chosen, and then you're back in the workforce by Tuesday. I got chosen, and I served on a case for about 4 days. And before I went in, everybody was telling me, they're like, "Bro, you got to tell them you're a racist, or you've got to tell them that you like hate, police or something." And this was a civil case, not even a criminal case. But like people kept like basically telling me you have to like lie, you have to make up something to get out of it. I mean, first of all, in case there's like anybody in the courtroom, other potential jurors, lawyers, judges who may know who I am, I'm not just going to say, oh, by the way, and this would be a lie, of course. I'm not just going to say, oh, yeah, I'm a racist. I shouldn't do jury duty. Yeah, I'm, I'm not putting that into the universe. And of course, it is not true. I love everyone equally. So no, I was completely truthful, completely honest throughout the process. I did get selected because honestly, why wouldn't you want to select me for stuff? I mean, no matter what that stuff is, you have to choose people. I should be chosen for just about anything. So yeah, I did serve for a few days, and honestly, I know that people would rather be doing other stuff, their normal life, whether it's work, family, whatever. And people want to get out of jury duty for a reason. People prefer not to do it than to do it. I thought it was an interesting experience. I found it to be very educational, for someone without a legal background, to really see a process play out that I've really only seen on movies and television shows, which of course is not usually accurate. To see the actual process play out and to go through deliberations and stuff, I found it to be fascinating. I found it to be educational. Due to the nature of the case that I served on, I actually learned things about the medical field because that was, involved in the proceeding. So I learned a lot from it, but I'm also happy to be back. So here we are on another episode of Donno Daily here on the Five Reasons Sports Network. And no, I did not serve on the Watson case. Now, if they did put me in a jury pool for that, they probably would not select a guy who's in sports media for that. So I probably would not have made the cut for that case. And there is stuff going on today with Deshaun Watson. But folks, we have so much going on with the Miami Dolphins NFL free agency. I was only semi-connected for the last several days. I've been keeping up with the headlines and keeping up with what's going on. Don't get me wrong, right? The Aaron Rodgers deal, the Russell Wilson trade, Mike Gesicki getting franchise tagged, but he may fight it to be labeled a wide receiver instead of a tight end. Like I've followed all the headlines. I've read news articles and stuff, but what I've missed out on a lot this week, because I've spent so much time in the courtroom, unable to use my phone and really read through things freely, I missed out on a lot of the reactions from Miami Dolphins fans. And based on the little that I have seen and heard, is it fair for me to characterize the reactions of Dolphin fans to certain players getting traded and players potentially getting released? There's been a lot of chaos and hysteria. Am I right to say that? Because I noticed that anytime there's a player who's rumored to maybe be cut in the upcoming days, or, rumored to being on the trading block or has been traded these last few days, Dolphin fans are saying, bros, we need to improve our roster. We got all this salary cap space. We got all this money. Why are we not literally in for every player? Why are we not literally in for every player? Now, the Dolphins did do something today. This is not necessarily my lead story, but it happened within the last hour. They put a second-round tender, not a chicken tender, a second-round tender on restricted free agent cornerback Nick Needham. This, according to Daniel Oyefusi from the Miami Herald. They have put the second-round tender, which will pay Needham about $3.9 million in 2022 and likely keeps one of Chris Greer's best undrafted gems in Miami. So I think that's a good move for the Dolphins. And, we're yet to see, just how many needs there are going to be in the defensive secondary, because we're going to see, is Byron Jones for sure going to be a Dolphin next year? Is Xavier Howard 100% going to be a Dolphin next year? Yeah, Nick Needham gets a second round. So, and I think Hussam is the one pulling the strings on that, because I don't know where Manny Chang is. Like, we've gotten so autopilot on this show. There he is. Hussam is producing today. Hussam, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well.
Well, now because I have my show on the network, I get producer access too, so I can
awesome.
I can jump onto your show and basically take over it at any time.
Well, there was that one time a few weeks ago where I needed to rummage through my house to find a laptop charger, and you did like 3 minutes. Like, you just took over in the middle of the show that one time, and you just rolled, because I didn't want to pause the video or something and tell people like, hey, I'm stepping away, I'm going to step back in. Brooklyn Rob says, one thing I learned about Finn fans, they love the big name. Doesn't matter if the guy is on the downside, he is still a big name. Now, I do want to say a few things here. The first thing I will say is I have to remind myself, the Hoos is loose. I've never heard that one before. Have you heard that before, Hussam? The Hoos is loose?
I've heard of Struce is loose, but
yeah, and the juice is loose.
The
Hoos is loose. Oh my God. But yeah, so I see this.
The other mush is correct. Brooklyn Rob is correct.
No, he's not the other mush. He's the he actually repeatedly wins money on his bets. He doesn't make questionable decisions like I do. So, okay, there's just one word every Miami Dolphins fan should keep in mind here, as we are only on, I look at my calendar here on my Apple Watch, the 11th day of March, the year of our Lord 2022. Patience. Patience is the word of the day. This needs to be our mantra. I would invite all of you to meditate later today. Not right now, because I want you to listen, watch, interact, but meditate later today and just repeat the word patience. Patience. Repeat it over and over.
Patience. Patience. Patience.
So the Dolphins now, and of course this is going to have to be clarified, wide receiver, tight end, whatever it is, but after placing the franchise tag on Mike Gesicki, if we just assume for argument's sake it's a tight end designation and that's going to stick, the Dolphins have just over $52 million in cap space right now. They could get it close to 70 after making cuts, right? Teams who have this much cap space have the flexibility, and I know everyone wants everything right now. Everyone wants the Dolphins to be linked and signing every single player and trading for every single player right now. But when you have a lot of cap space, as the Dolphins do, you have the flexibility to make big moves that don't involve giving up big-time assets like high draft picks in trades or elite players in trades, okay? So maybe you would prefer, if you have multiple options at a position, either through a trade or through free agency, maybe you would prefer to sign an elite offensive tackle, perhaps, on the free market rather than trading assets for one. That, I hope it makes sense to you guys, because it makes sense to me, okay? Free agents are not right now, March 11th, are not technically allowed to negotiate with prospective teams, other teams, that is, until March 14th at noon. That's this coming Monday. That's when the legal tampering period is going to start. We're still 3 days away from that, okay? I know every time we see the shiny object, I think those were Brooklyn Rob's words or something like that. Every time we see a shiny object who might be available in a trade, we have the urge to go out and make that trade. Like, people asking, why didn't we go all in for Russell Wilson, who was part of a blockbuster deal? 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-rounder, plus Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, and Noah Fant. That's what Denver gave up to get him. Did the Broncos overpay for him? Probably. Would I
Do you
have made
think
this
they did? Do you think they overpaid for Russell Wilson?
overpay? That's like I'm going to say yes and no. Is Russell
Why the yes
Wilson
and why the no then?
okay? Here's why the yes. Just in a vacuum, is a Russell Wilson on the back nine? Is he worth that many assets? You could argue no. At the same time, whenever whether you're scoring a blockbuster trade like this, or if he did reach free agency and you're going for a big time free agent, you always have to overpay. So that's why I say yes and no. Like the market is what the market is. Okay. I do think that if you just value him strictly in a vacuum, they probably overpaid a little bit for, if he was 29, no, they probably overpaid for a guy on the back nine on the wrong side of 30, but the price is the price.
But do you have to take into account the last 2 years how the Rams traded for a good quarterback, won the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers brought in a good quarterback and won the Super Bowl. In hindsight, if the Broncos do well, are we still going to be talking about?
And also, these are the same Broncos who about a decade ago brought in Peyton Manning, and they did end up winning a Super Bowl.
The year was 1983 when the Dolphins and Broncos both drafted stud quarterbacks. Me putting on the tinfoil cap, imaginary tinfoil cap. You got
that's right.
You got the tinfoil cap on you.
I lost it, and I haven't made a new
whatever.
one.
You're wearing the whatever. Is that called a baguette or something? No,
I don't know. They call it it's a flat cap.
A flat cap. All
If
right,
if you were to Google anything, if you were to Google anything like flat cap, old time hat, newsboy hat, some people call it Peaky Blinders hat. Like you could Google a number of different things, and this sumbitch is going to come right up.
Yeah, it came up. John Elway was drafted in 1983. Dan Marino was drafted in 1983. Peyton Manning was brought in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Tannehill was brought in 2012.
And also, you said John Elway. He correct. He was drafted in 1983. Yeah. The Broncos had to trade though in that draft to get him. Yeah. So they were aggressive with Elway. They were aggressive to get Elway. That wasn't their draft pick.
Russell Wilson was traded to Denver, Miami ?
Well, let me ask you this, because Russell Wilson, correct? He had a no trade clause, right? The same. We've had a lot of conversations about the last year or so about Deshaun Watson, how
there's been rumors about Watson either going to Seattle or Carolina.
I could see either of those. I mean, listen, Seattle. I know that a lot of people assumed that Seattle, they're going into a rebuild, but hold on. They just got a ton of big-time assets, and we know what is Houston looking for to deal Deshaun Watson. They're looking for assets that look a lot like the ones Seattle just acquired. So I think the shoe fits there, and Carolina, that makes sense, because I think Carolina has wanted Watson the entire time. Like he reportedly said no to them last year as far as he wouldn't waive the no trade clause for them. But now that it looks like Miami is more than likely out of it, because I've said it repeatedly that I don't think the Dolphins, and Chris Greer said it. So what do I need to say at this point? The Dolphins are out of Deshaun Watson.
Rumored for the Panthers. So it's saying the Panthers believe they'll have to surrender at least 3 first-round picks, another draft pick, and a young player or 2. Now, those players could include safety Jeremy Chin, defensive end Brian Burns, defensive tackle Derek Brown, and or cornerback J.C. Horn. That is a lot of young studs right there.
Yeah, totally. Donno looks like he is ready to grab a mic and start belting out thunderstruck. This is the type of hat AC/DC. I'm sure that they wore these as well. You've been thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. Yeah, thunderstruck. Yeah.
I first heard that song in Iron Man. In Iron Man.
Oh my God, you are such a millennial shit.
I'm a Gen Z. What are you talking about?
Oh, man? That's true. I don't see. The thing is, when you're
older,
the millennial. Actually, I'm actually a millennial.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah, that's true. You're such a Gen Z shit. I mean, how can you like AACDC? I respect them. My top rock band of all time is Zeppelin, but
Uh-huh.
ACDC, like they're on that short list. Like I think the only
Does
reason why
Pink
they're not.
Floyd count as a rock band?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Pink Floyd.
they're
Pink
my
Floyd.
number one.
They're right up there as well.
Yeah,
Pink
they're my number one.
Yeah, okay. And listen, I'm not going to argue that because Floyd might be as high as my number 2. They're that good. Like I think Zeppelin. No, I think Zeppelin's probably at the top. Floyd, Rolling Stones are in that conversation. I don't. Maybe they're in a different category. I love the Beatles, but they're not like I don't know. They were as much pop as they were rock. I love a lot of like the 60s and 70s British stuff, man. That was I'm an old soul. I was born like 2 decades too late.
By the order of the Peaky Blinders, I ordered you to take off the flat cap.
Oh man, you're making me laugh so hard. I think I might have unplugged something on my computer.
I'm sorry I took over your show. I'm so sorry.
You don't need to apologize. You don't need to. I mean, listen. I first of all, I'm probably a little bit rusty because I haven't done this in. I mean, I did have 5 rounds last night. This is a whole different kind of show.
Oh, The Chain was a good song, man. The Chain is a good song.
What is?
And I'll never let you down.
Oh,
It'll never be the same. Yeah. Man, what was the band called? Oh my god. Let me look it up, man.
I feel stupid that I can't place it. I feel it's probably something like I'm gonna
Fleetwood
feel
Mac.
really.
Oh my god, Fleetwood Mac, dude.
Oh, see, I'm not really a fan.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan.
Fleetwood Mac is good. Fleetwood Mac is good. Well, we got to get back to on topic. What the hell were we even talking about?
We were talking about Dolphins, potential trades, free agents. Okay, so we all know offensive tackle, guard, center, every spot on the offensive line is in need. I think everyone knows if you're going the free agent route for offensive tackle, I know he's really expensive. Teron Armstead, to me, by far the best who's going to be available. But okay, there is a potential trade target that's being talked about here. And listen,
Lyle Collins from the Cowboys.
Lyle
right?
Collins, yeah. And because the Cowboys are in salary cap hell, it's why they're trying to trade or maybe even cut Amari Cooper. It's why they're trying to trade Lyle Collins because they're over the cap. They need to get under the cap. Lyle Collins, I like the fact that obviously he's experienced, proven veteran. I like the fact that he's a right tackle, which is the blind side for our quarterback.
Mark, bro, he's like next topic. We already know. We all know. Donno, you're just wasting our time here.
What? Why? Okay, well, let me ask you about Lyle Collins. Forget about Teron Armstead for a second.
Yeah.
Would you cut a deal for Lyle Collins from the Cowboys? And how much do you think, in terms of assets, do you think it would take to? I know he's making about $10 million next year, so he would be like literally half the price of Teron Armstead.
Right.
So what kind of a deal do you have to cut to get him here?
Now, when I'm thinking about offensive linemen, and I had this conversation with Alfredo Arteaga a while ago. Lyle Collins was a player that the Dolphins tried to get last year. Now, Lyle Collins fits a power man rush scheme that the Dolphins implemented last year,
Bingo.
but it never worked.
Bingo.
Now, with Mike McDaniel, they're trying to run a wide zone scheme. Now, he doesn't necessarily fit, but he's a damn good right tackle. He's a damn good offensive lineman.
If you're good enough, you can learn. If you're good enough, they can make you fit.
The thing is with good players, you don't pigeonhole them into a scheme. You adapt the scheme for them. Now, to give up Lyle Collins, he's a good offensive lineman, but it really depends the asking price on what Dallas wants. Now, if they're just looking to shut off salary, send a 4th or a 5th.
Right.
Now,
well, and that's my thing. And just to pick up on that point, because it sounds like, and obviously this doesn't mean they have no leverage, because if there are multiple teams interested, there could be like a little mini bidding war. But at the same time, the teams interested know if they can't find a trade partner for their asking price, they're going to have to cut him, because I think they're going to have to cut him because they're in salary cap hell.
Right, they are in salary cap hell because they decided to pay Ezekiel Elliott. They decided to pay a running back over Amari Cooper, a defensive end, and an offensive lineman.
Right.
Now, I wouldn't be mad with Lyle Collins. Like, you lock up the right side with Robert Hunt and Lyle Collins. Those are 2 good offensive linemen. Then you have to worry about the left side.
Just roll out to the right every play. Don't even worry about it. Although
throw out to the right on every play, which is not Tua's good side.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you see, and the thing that bothers me about Tua is, why is he not completely ambidextrous? Like he writes.
He is completely ambidextrous. He can throw with his right hand too.
Well, if he can, maybe it's time to work on that a little bit because
that's like in 2012 asking Ryan Tannehill to throw with his left hand because he couldn't do shit with his right hand.
There are switch hitters in baseball, right? If there are switch hitters, why are there not switch quarterbacks?
That would be interesting. What if we get Nick Hicks onto the show and ask him?
He hates me. He'll never come on the show.
I don't know if he hates me. Maybe I can get Tua on to ask him to come onto the show.
Just don't tell him I'm here.
Hey, you never know. Listen, maybe two haters. You hate him. He hates you. You guys have something mutual in common.
True.
He's
too sensitive. Like, and you know me, I'm good natured. Like, you know that. Like, I hope you know that. I'm very good natured, right?
Yeah.
But every now and then, because Nick Hicks, like, bro, if you put out a video of someone throwing a medicine ball at the side of a building, I'm gonna make a snarky comment. It's just who I am. You don't need to get all upset about it, okay?
Wear the bag while you're on with him.
That's true. He'll never know. The paper bag, and I got to get a new paper bag as well because when I felt like the paper bag was no longer needed when the University of Miami, when they hired Mario Cristobal, because I just felt like my misery. I was so delighted that day. I ripped the paper bag to shreds on the show. Oh, is that a D-Wade bobble?
Hell yeah, it is. I bought it at the Miami Heat store at the Pembroke Pines Mall.
Put it up to the camera because it looks nothing. Not that I would expect the bobblehead to be totally accurate, but it looks like a child version of Dwayne Wade. Like it looks like a very youthful face.
I wonder if Ethan can bring on Wade, and Wade would be like, "What in the golly is this?"
Yeah,
it's one of the legacy ones from his last season.
Wow.
In Miami. I had to get him. I'm a big D Wade fan. But
who isn't? I mean, let's be real here.
To your point about offensive linemen, Brandon Scherf.
Oh, I like that.
Rishi Desai from Dolphins ATP. You were on the Dolphins ATP show not too long ago. He's going to cost a lot of money, probably a little bit more than Teron Armstead.
Yeah. You think he'll cost more than Teron Armstead?
I think he'll cost more than Teron Armstead just because he's an All-Pro. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler. He was an All-Pro in 2020. He's not necessarily on the back end of his career, but he's always played right guard.
I just assumed because he's a guard and not a tackle that he would probably automatically cost a little less, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. Now, he's played right guard only, and Miami already has a right guard in Robert Hunt. That's right. But you shift Robert Hunt out to the right side as tackle because he's played it in 2020. Keep Scherf in. Maybe you could potentially get Lyle Collins in a trade, put him at left guard. Hey, there we go. Do you keep Agba, and what price do you pay Hollins? Agba.
Yes, you keep Agba.
I keep Agba.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. I would want to keep Agba.
Is there anything because one of the ways that I do feel like I've been a little bit out of the loop for the past 4 days in the jury box because and obviously like last week we were talking a lot about Agba on this show, and I was on with Joe Rose last week. We talked a little bit about Agba. It has always been just my assumption, even going back to like right after the season ended, that he really wants to be here. I also understand it's his right if he wants to test the free agent market a little bit. Has there been anything like new for these past few days? Maybe anyone have like any insight to what he might be thinking?
Yeah. So they're not going to put they weren't going to put the franchise tag on him, and the franchise tag would cost him like 17.9 million, like on the verge of $18 million. You have a couple of edges hitting free agency, like D Ford. I know Bobby Wagner is a linebacker. You have Chandler Jones hitting free agency as well. Now, ideally, you would want to keep Agba on a lesser deal than that, but you got money to spare. Why not try to sign him for $17 million a year, or maybe 16 and a half, or maybe front load the contract. And then if you don't want him, you're backloading his contract after 2 years. You already give him his money. He can go if you decide to draft a pass rusher or somebody else comes down the line later. And Jalen Phillips just becomes an absolute stud within the next 2 to 3 seasons. You'd want to keep the defensive line unit together. Basically, why break something up if it was working?
Well said. That's really that's such a good point. I had never, in any of the conversations I had, I never thought about that. I never brought that up. That you're not only comparing players to players, but your continuity, I think, is important. Like
continuity is very important in football, man. Yeah. It's very, very important. And
unless your offensive line sucks, then you don't want continuity. But when your defensive line it doesn't suck, continuity is good.
And speaking about continuity, and I'm sorry, I rated your show, and I'm going to be talking about my new show that hit it off at 11 a.m. But I had Cole Strange on. I had Cole Strange on at 11. Now he's a draft prospect, played for Tennessee, Chattanooga, and he was telling me, one of the greatest challenges and adversity he went through at the Senior Bowl was the fact that he didn't have his teammates there. So he was playing center, and he's only played center twice in his career. So he was playing center, and there was a specific play he already knew at the back of his mind, and he didn't really communicate it with the left side of his line. The play was called Bronco. And it's basically an outside guy. It's an outside zone play to the left side, like an outside zone. They just go around to the tackle, and the center guard and tackle move together. Now, when they did that, the play basically busted up because at the end, they didn't communicate. He told me that at Tennessee Chattanooga, the left tackle, left guard, and him as center, they all played together for 2 to 3 years, and they knew exactly what to do. And every single repetition, they didn't even need to communicate. It was just continuous for them. And that's the same way you want to keep your defensive line together with Agba. Just keep the same schematics, keep the same type of plays. It's the third season for Agba. He's playing alongside Christian Wilkins, Raekwon Davis. They know each other. They know the plays. Why break it up?
And by the way, let's go back to Cap's super chat, and thank you so much for that. By the way, thank you so much for the donation. So we talked a little bit about Agba. What about Mac Hollins? What price would you pay to keep him? I mean, obviously, I'd love to keep him, assuming it's a reasonable price.
I would too. I would want to keep him as well, but I just don't know the price on it. On a guy like him, special teams ace, can be a good receiver when needed to. Counted on him the last 2 seasons. I mean, you remember the Fitzmagic play to Mac Hollins as well. And Mac Hollins can catch, dude. He can catch over the middle. He can catch deep.
Yeah, I think he's underused. Like as a wide receiver, I think he's underutilized.
He is underutilized. Now, I just don't know the exact numbers. Maybe I'd give him like a 3-year, $25 million. I don't know the specifics of what the deal, but like I would try to keep him.
Now, you are Mr. Draft, you're Mr. Combine. Any thought here on Jamarco's homie, Chad Muma, killed the Combine? Said, I'm just saying.
Killed the Combine, but I like Troy Anderson more than Chad Muma. Now, look, you have athletes on this defensive side of the ball. Now, he's a good athlete, but he's not a great one. He's produced more so with great technique. And look, there's nothing wrong about it. But he doesn't have that natural physical gifts. And look, the Combine doesn't really show your full skill set, what you can do in a game situation. Now, he did okay at the Senior Bowl, right? Don't get me wrong. He did okay at the Senior Bowl. He had one of the highest run defense grades in all of college football last year. But he played in Wyoming. Didn't really face top level competition. He doesn't have that quick twitch you look for in a modern day inside linebacker. He doesn't have that agility. He doesn't have the quickness. Think about Landon Roberts, but much younger.
Okay, I like that comparison.
Think about Landon Roberts, but much younger. That's why I like Troy Anderson much better. He's also a small school guy. From I forgot what it was. Give me 1 second. Let me look up my notes while you ad-lib for me, Donno.
Well, I'm going to ad-lib, and I had to. The primary reason why I have to bring up this comment is this is my favorite username on the platform. PGA Tour Tua. And honestly, that's another one. Making the golf jokes is another reason why Nick Hicks, Tua's trainer, doesn't like me. Very sensitive. He's very you bring up the golf jokes, you bring up anything that may question Tua being an elite quarterback. He's not, at least not yet. And anytime you question that, the trainer gets very upset. But PGA Tour Tua says we may sign Colin Kaepernick. It will be a good PR move for the Dolphins. And I know Kaepernick put out something on social this week, right, where he was working out. But honestly, the thing is, PR move aside, at one point in time, Kaepernick absolutely could play that position very well, but it's been so long. Like it's been so long. So if you're talking about getting a reliable backup, potentially,
come on, Gianmarco, come on, man.
He's obsessed with Muma. He's upset. But I mean, listen, like, is there like who's some? It's been how many years? It's been 6 years since he's played. Like, unfortunately, there's a shelf life there, man.
Josh Johnson threw passes last year, and he didn't play for 5 years. All right, there's always a market for backup quarterbacks.
Okay,
there's always a backup. Now back to Troy Anderson. He played at Montana State. All right, he's 6'3",
Montana State. Okay,
242 pounds, ideal size, height, speed, hella athletic, played track. He's very good in coverage, especially in zone schemes and man schemes. He's physical, quick to that read option, read run. He's agile. He's fast. He can play outside. He can play inside. He has that athletic ability. And he is a complete, again, listen to what I say. He is a complete 3-down linebacker, and that's something Miami has been missing since Channing Crowder, Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor days.
My guy Channing. I mean, you say complete. I saw a guy who couldn't cover a tight end to save his life, but he was all right.
Now, the only downside is his experience of playing linebacker. He's only played 2 seasons, but look, he's in the draft. People are talking about him, and he's only played 2 years of linebacker in college. Kind of says something that he's good.
By the way, now that I think about it, I got to double check this. But a cousin of mine who, never had a pro career or anything, but he did play college quarterback, and I think he played at Montana State. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad. Like, I didn't know him that well because he grew up and lived in Colorado. I think I only met the guy like 4 times in my life. He went to high school though with Calais Campbell, so I was able to kind of so when I was covering Calais, I was able to kind of build a relationship with him through my cousin who he played high school football with. But I want to say Montana State is where my cousin played quarterback, so that would be and again, like, anybody related to me can't be that good. So
Gianmarco, look, I'm knocking the same thing for Troy Anderson as well. He's played in the FCS, so it's going to be a massive step to the NFL level. Don't get me wrong, but he's got the speed, he's got the size, he's got the coverage, he's got that run defense, he's got the tackling. He's played Sam, Will, and Mike linebacker, okay? He's played all over the linebacker unit in a short span. Now, cool, he's inexperienced, but you can teach people. Yeah. Like this Dolphins staff, what McDaniel has brought in, they're all teachers.
Let me ask you how much interest, because I think if I asked you any interest, that'd be a stupid question because you'd probably be stupid not to have any interest. But how much interest would you have in Amari Cooper?
You'd be stupid not to have any interest in Amari Cooper.
Thank you.
He's a hometown guy. He's a hometown guy. Yeah. But what are you going to give up to get him? Like, you already know what Dallas wants to do with Amari Cooper. If they can't get a trade target, release him. All right.
Same as Lyle Collins.
Pick him up. But you want him that bad. You don't want him to have a market.
Well, yeah, I know it's been reported, like, for the Dolphins that they seemingly would only be interested in him, like legitimately interested, if he is released, not to trade for him.
Right, because Chris Greer doesn't want to give up draft picks, and we know he loves his draft picks, right? You want to get a high-level wide receiver who's a veteran, route-running savviness, has played with a good quarterback, knows what right looks like. Teach younger guys like Jalen Waddle, can teach Mike Gesicki, can teach Lynn Bowden, and it can help Tua out. Like that. I'd go all in for Amari Cooper.
I would too. And our guy PGA Tour Tua says Cooper doesn't want to catch passes from Tua. Well, something, and
Did he ask Amari Cooper? Did he ask Amari Cooper that? Does he have a one-way line to Amari Cooper?
I mean, even some of the receivers and running backs who played with Tua preferred Mac Jones. So you remember people were all upset about that.
Oh, you mean Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith? Yeah, that's all draft talk. Come on, they're building up their own guys.
They preferred Mac Jones. They caught passes from both of them in college, and
that's
were
like
asked
me saying I
blank.
prefer the Pat McAfee show than Donald Daly.
What's that?
That's like me trying to say I prefer the Donald Daly show over Pat McAfee because I got to build you up.
So you're not sincere when you tell me that privately, constantly. You're like, you're so much better than McAfee. You're so much better.
I don't know. I mean, the way you're bringing up this logic, maybe.
Well, and also, I don't know. I think maybe I talked about this one other time on the show because I can't remember. There was somebody on one of these on one of these media interviews over the last couple months because Dolphin, the Tua-neers, they get very obsessive, right?
Tua-neers? What the hell is that?
It's another term because I'm not gonna disrespect my pal Tua-non by calling everything Tua because he's a special breed. Tua-neers,
stands, bro.
Tua stands. Okay, so the Tua stands. You know, when you don't have the truth on your side, you have to just pepper with all this trivial stuff. And so anytime there's any sort of a segment or an interview on ESPN where somebody says something that may be perceived as negative about Tua, they clip it, they put it on Twitter, they all get excited and they retweet it with angry comments. It's Tua stan behavior, right? And there was
some high key calling me out because he knows I'm a Tua stan.
I'm a Tua stan as well, but I'm a different kind of Tua stan.
Oh, there's levels to this.
No, I am the supreme level, and I was trying to explain this. I was trying to explain this on social media this week. Anybody who thinks I'm not rooting for him is ridiculous because I'm a Dolphin fan. I root for anybody who puts on the uniform. Me questioning him.
You rooted for Jakeem Grant?
I did. You don't think I was mad when he fumbled? Fuck, man, hold on to the football. You're hurting my team. Of course, I rooted for Jakeem Grant. I root for everyone who puts on the uniform.
Apparently, he's getting a market.
Yeah, listen, we have hard feelings here, but we know what he's capable of doing on special teams. But the point being, it's the ultimate form of respect. The fact that I question him because I want him. I want him to be at his best. I'm not just going to blindly brag about and rave about our quarterback who hasn't proven a whole lot here, except that he's got a great completion percentage. He's had some good games here and there. But I'm not just going to be blind. I'm going to steal a term from my guy Big O, and full respect to him because I think it's a great term. I'm not just going to be a blind ass fan or a blind ass Tua fan. I want to see improvement, right? You got to think if the Tua stands were running the Dolphins front office and coaching the team, he would never get better because he wouldn't have to get better because you guys don't hold him to a high enough standard. I do, and I am rooting for him. Now, I fully admit there are some awful people who claim to be Dolphins fans who would rather see Tua fail just to prove their point than to see him succeed. I'm not one of those people. Listen, and I know what's going to happen. Let's say by some miracle, Tua Tagovailoa wins a Super Bowl with the Dolphins. Of course, I'm going to be thrilled.
Some miracle.
if Tua wins a Super Bowl with the Miami Dolphins, of course I'm going to celebrate because I wasn't alive in '73, the last time the Dolphins won a Super Bowl.
What if he wins a Super Bowl with a different team?
I only support the people who are on my. I support players on my team. I don't support unless it's like a real. If they went to the U, yeah. I will support players on other teams, but Tua is an Alabama guy. I'll support him when he's here. I wouldn't support him when he's not here. But if he wins a Super Bowl in a Dolphins uniform, I already know what's going to happen to me. I'm going to get dragged by some people on Twitter because they think I don't like him. But you know what? It's worth it. I don't mind if I get dragged and if people try to pull up tweets of mine from 2020 for old takes exposed. I'll be so happy about winning a Super Bowl. That's not going to bother me.
Tweets, chain you up to the horse, wrap you around, put your legs on it. You'll get dragged like in the Colosseum back in ancient Rome.
It'll be worth it though. I'd be so happy. I wouldn't even care.
I would pay to see that. I would pay to see Donno get that.
Oh man, and see, this is and my guy Gianmarco, also the ultimate form of respect. He is a Tua stan like me, holds him to high standard. But Gianmarco says he's only winning a Super Bowl as a backup. we are the Gianmarco and we are the real Tua stans. We love this guy the most. Oh man, is there anybody? I feel like we've talked about a lot of players. Is there anybody? Oh well, let me circle back to, because we got a little off topic earlier.
Sorry.
Talking about no, it's not your fault. I mean, it probably is, but I don't really care. So we were talking about Russell Wilson, and you were talking about whether they overpaid for him or not. Let me put that part aside, because I can agree with what you said about that. With him having a no trade clause, we'll probably never know how close, if they even tried, the Dolphins were to like feeling out making that move. But if I put myself in the shoes of Russell Wilson, couldn't I understand, if I evaluate the current football situation in Denver versus the current football situation in Miami, wouldn't I strongly argue that if one of those teams is an elite quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl, that's Denver. It's not Miami.
Yeah.
Like Miami needs and a lot of cap space, a lot of draft picks, fine, but you still need to use those on the right people. Like the Dolphins are far from a finished product, where the Denver Broncos, they're so good everywhere but quarterback. If I'm Wilson and I've got a no trade clause, which means I have a lot of input on where I go, where I get traded to, I'm going to say, send me to the team that's a quarterback away.
Yeah, 100%. Look, Denver has a young and upcoming defense that was fantastic with Vic Fangio. Now, I'm not a Broncos guy, but I don't know who their new defensive coordinator is.
I don't know either.
They got talent on the defense, man.
Yeah,
they got hella talent on the defensive side of the ball, and all on offense. Look, they have good offensive linemen. They have a plethora of offensive linemen, actually. And Russell Wilson hasn't had a good offensive line since he had Marshawn Lynch as his running back. You look who his running back now. You got Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. It's a great 1-2 punch, but Melvin Gordon is hitting free agency regardless, and the Broncos have said that they would like for him to be back. Their defensive coordinator is Ijero. Never heard of him in my life. Never heard of him in my life.
Sure, he's a great guy though.
Sure, yeah, sure, he's a great guy. But they have an offensive line. They have weapons. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Albert O, similar to Noah Fant, but just not well known, and KJ Hamler, dude. They got weapons. But look at who you're playing against in the division.
I was gonna say that's the one thing. Like for as good as the Broncos can be with Russell Wilson, you got to go through the wood chipper.
Yep,
that's the one thing. But before I let you run, I think one position we haven't talked about specifically is running back. We've had a couple of names thrown around, including a guy who seemingly plays every position in Cordarrelle Patterson. What are you looking at running back in free agency?
Wait for it. I'm teasing you right now. I promise you, it's not an article I'm coming out in 5 reasons. I promise you. Right here.
That makes sense with the McDaniel connection. I'm glad you brought up Mostert. That makes sense. And I know that he's not the flashiest name available, but for this specific football fit, his knowledge and previous success in this offense with this coach, that it may be the best football fit.
Now, here's a little insider information. From our 5 reasons, people who get their sourcing as well. Look for them to acquire a running back or potentially a linebacker in the second waves of free agency.
Okay. So that means in the first wave, offensive tackle, guard potentially for sure. What do you think they get in the first wave?
wide receiver, offensive lineman.
Okay.
Potentially an edge guy.
Tell people about your new show on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Of course, man. Of course. So now that I'm officially full-time part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Woo! I didn't even know about that. I've been in the freaking
'cause
jury
you were on
box. I had
jury
no
duty.
idea. Yeah, no clue.
It's because you were on jury duty, dude.
I was the jury foreman as well. They elected me their leader, the other jurors.
Really?
Yeah.
So this right here, the scouting combine
I like that.
with Hussam Patel. Now I'm gonna have Jakari Jock Gibbons in sometimes, and a little bit of a sneak peek as well for the next show. I'm gonna have a pretty big name PFF guy on to talk about the NFL draft. Maybe combine talks, maybe some quarterbacks, but tune in soon. All right.
That is beautiful. That is a beautiful plug. You writing anything this week?
I'm thinking about writing something, but I'm going to Atlanta for vacation and come back Saturday. So
you're going to Atlanta for vacation.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Atlanta is the type of city where you go there when you have a reason to go there, like business, relatives, or something. Like you could go anywhere in the country or the world. You can go on vacation. You're going to Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, my family wants to go visit the Coke factory, but here's the real reason: the College Football Hall of Fame. You know I love college football.
I didn't know that was there. Okay, that makes sense. For a sports fan like yourself, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know what Tony Two Times is talking about, but it's okay to eat fish. It's okay to eat fish. You like fish?
Underneath the bridge, the tarp has sprung a leak. All the animals I've trapped have all become my friends, and I'm driving off of grass. Like are you writing like a short story and like you accidentally cut and pasted here? Or...
I think he's got best.
Oh, is that a song? That's a song. It's got to be a song lyric.
The Batman soundtrack.
Oh, that's the Nirvana song. That I didn't even.
It's because we were talking about rock earlier. That's why.
Yeah, he's okay. That's the Nirvana song that they use in Batman. And it's funny. I haven't even been able to talk about that movie because I saw it on Saturday.
I haven't watched it. Shut up. Don't talk about it.
I'm not going to give you any I wouldn't do that to you. I'm not going to give you spoilers. But I'm telling you, see it. It's excellent. It is an excellent film. And let me let you go on that note because we got our guy, Lee Sterling's going to hop in. Hussam Patel. You see where to follow him on Twitter, @Hussam Patel. Thank you so much, sir. Rocking and rolling.
Figured it out. There we go.
There we go. Oh, it's always the opposite way you think when you point. I love it. Hussam is the man. Lee Sterling is the man. I haven't seen Lee in a couple weeks. He's been off doing God knows what at the Big Apple. Lee, I finally got released yesterday afternoon from the jury box. Had jury duty Monday. Of course, since I'm just so incredible and fair and wise and charismatic, I get selected for the jury. 4 days of service for the great county of Miami-Dade. Rendered what I felt to be a very fair and logical verdict. I was the jury foreman, but I'm back. I'm back in real life today, man. No more jury duty for me. It's done. I am here. How you been, sir?
What great. What kind of case were you involved in?
It was a civil case, and right there, I thought that was kind of a bummer because I've always said if I'm ever going to be on a jury, and this is the first time I've ever been on one, I've been jury duty but never selected. That you want to be on something like a drug case or
right.
like a murder or something a little bit more glamorous. But I got to tell you, this was interesting. It was over a car accident and whether or not there were permanent injuries and coming up with liability. The lawyers got a little testy with each other. There are a lot of objections, a lot of sidebars. It wasn't boring. It was long because the days were long because
right.
there were so many arguments and so many cross-examinations. It got very tedious, but it was not boring. I learned a lot from the experience.
And the final verdict was?
The final verdict was we granted this woman very, very little compared to what she was asking for. And I think without going into too many details, I think I could be somewhat frank about it now that it's over. I think I'm allowed to say a few things. She didn't have much of a case, in my opinion, and in the opinion of the 5 other jurors. So let's just say she
was asking for how much total?
$1.9 million.
Did she get $50,000?
Yes, almost exactly that. Almost exactly 50,000, which was for the reasonable past medical expenses and just kind of to be nice future physical therapy, which was
So she's not inviting you over for dinner tonight or tomorrow night.
no, I don't think she's very I don't think she's very happy with me, especially since I was the foreman. So if there's
Yeah.
like one face she's gonna remember, it's
so
my face.
So you ready for my case last summer?
Yeah.
You'll love this. And we'll run through some games. But get a case where a gentleman was in charge of a cockfighting ring.
That's even more interesting than mine.
Yeah. So what was even better before the case was that they asked if any jurors couldn't be fair and impartial. And it turned out 2 had relatives or had been involved with running cockfighting rings beforehand. One in Cuba and one in West Dade. So,
oh my God.
I mean, it was interesting. All right, so now back to the task at hand.
Well, okay, so first things first. Before
Yep.
we get into some of your preferred bets for the weekend, I'm looking at local interest.
Yep.
Tonight, 8:00, we got the Miami Heat hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. Miami 7.5-point favorites lead. Do you like anything there?
I lean to Miami here. Without
Okay.
Allen, Allen's given the Heat a whole lot of problems. This is a young team. They push up tempo. If Jimmy Butler plays, and it sounds like he's probably going to play, I'm going to wait till the end to pull the trigger. If he does, I'm probably going to be on Miami's side here. I think they can win this game here by double digits. Like the fact that they were humbled last week. I will say this, and I did not bet the Miami-Phoenix game because I didn't know who was going to play.
Yeah.
You don't know Butler's coming off COVID protocols, whether Butler was going to play or not. So with Booker and Butler's status up in the air, I just watched the game. And I will say this. If we play them in the finals, we're in a lot of trouble. Their offense matches up against our defense.
But wouldn't virtually anyone be in a lot? I mean, matchups are matchups, but Phoenix to me, they're the team to beat. Like anyone would be in trouble against them.
I agree. And then also on top of that, I even went at halftime. I think it was tied at halftime. I rarely make second half bets. I made a halftime bet, and I'm like, I'm all in on Phoenix. Right? Just thought that they were starting to figure out Miami, and they did. So just want to throw that out. Sometimes some of the best bets are no bets, and I did not bet the first half. So you can bet sometimes a halftime, a second and a half play, or just watch a game and take notes you can use for future reference. So put that in the memory bank. If we do make the finals, that's the one team I don't want to see his face. Then I'm sure you're going to ask about the Canes tonight, right?
Yeah, I will. But one more thought on the Heat, because I know Heat fans feel like this a lot. Like I was watching Get Up this morning on ESPN. They were doing a big NBA block, and they're having this debate. And just like I'm Kendrick Perkins was the voice of reason, because I'm not a big Mike Greenberg fan, but Mike Greenberg was talking about how like the Brooklyn Nets are the team to beat in the East, and then Perkins is like they might not even make the playoffs, like they might be a play-in team. And so they're talking about the Brooklyn Nets being potential NBA finalists. Somebody mentions the Milwaukee Bucks, no mention whatsoever of the Miami Heat. And personally, even as a Heat fan, I know people like to hear their team get mentioned and get praised, but I don't mind flying under the radar. Like I don't mind being a team that people are like, because they flew under the radar 2 years ago. 2 years ago when they got to the bubble finals.
Alex, any one of 4 teams, maybe even Boston can win it. I mean, Boston's playing great basketball. They've figured it out. They're one of the best defensive teams. They're number 1 or number 2 the whole season playing the pick and roll, and they've got 2 guys that are big-time scorers. So there's East is by far the beast right now. It used to be the West. East is much better than the West. The UM game tonight, I favor Miami a little. I probably won't play the game. Duke has got to be ready for this game.
What's the spread? I don't have it in front of me.
9 points. 9 points.
Okay.
So, I mean, the price looks tempting, but sometimes it's there for a reason. Duke's going to be ready to go, but we can play a wide open game, this UM team can. And great to see them. It looks like with that win, they secured a March Madness berth. I can't see them not being in now, with Wake Forest also losing the round before to the same team and us beating Wake Forest. So with all the weapons, any one of our top 4 guys can score 25 points, which is nice. I'd like to see Wardenberg. he passes up way too many threes. He's not on the court for defense. So Warrenberg can shoot the ball. He's a really good 3-point shooter instead of passing up some opportunities. I think we can stay with Duke here. So this is a good team, but not Duke's best team. Got a college game for you. A former coach for UM, Frank Haith. They're getting 9.5, 10 points, and they're playing SMU. Now, SMU's on the bubble. There's a lot of pressure on them. There's nothing. I mean, Tulsa's 11-19. They have no chance at even the CBI tournament. They play much better as an underdog. As a favorite, Tulsa's one of the worst teams. As an underdog, one of the best ones. And they're going to muck up the game. I think it's been like 3.5 weeks. No one scored even close to 70 points on them. So they're going to slow up the game. Will Tulsa here. SMU, I've noticed the last week or two that shooters some alligator arms there because the pressure is so great. Getting 9.5, 10 points. I'll take Tulsa at 7 o'clock in the AAC tournament. And got a UFC play for you.
Yeah. And by the way, I think that's a really good card this weekend. Like they obviously, it's not a pay-per-view, so they don't have the marquee main event. But Lee, I was looking at the card, and we had our combat sports show last night, and yesterday morning I looked at the full card, and like every fight should be good. Like every fight should be really
what? Even better will be next week.
Oh, yeah.
And yours truly is going. I'm flying over Thursday night to across the pond. I will be at it. One of my clients
told me about that. That's right.
With one of the fighters. So we've got some seats in the 9th row and looking forward to that. But I like Alex Pereira here. So Alex Pereira, not to be confused with the Roberto Hands of Stone Duran. Alex Pereira here, Alex Stonehands Pereira. So whenever you see a fighter with very limited experience as far as the UFC record as a big favorite or any type of favorite, something's going on.
Yeah.
So he's only 1-0 in the UFC, but he's fought some really good fighters. So he's beaten Dustin Jacoby. What he did was he was on the Glory kickboxing circuit. He beat Dustin Jacoby there, KO win over him. Also beat Israel Adesanya twice.
Oh, that's right. I remember that name now. He's the one who beat Izzy.
Yeah, so he is actually a 175 to 180 favorite, and the guy he's fighting tonight 3-0 since he's been in the UFC. But I just think that this is going to be a fight that's going to be fought in stand up, and don't see his opponent Bruno taking him down. He's not a guy that goes to the mat here, and I think it's going to be an exciting stand-up match that you're going to want to watch. The winner likely could be fighting for the title one day, even though you got a 32-year-old in Silva and a 34-year-old here in Duran here. So my money is on Alex Pereira here. I expect he's going to use his kickboxing skills, and he's going to maintain that distance here. Eventually, he puts Silva away. I think we're going to see the referee pay homage to Roberto Hands of Stone Duran. He's going to yell "No mas."
No mas. So. Oh man,
you might want to take him here also. Play at -175. Put half the wager on a -175, and also -115 to 120 by KO.
I like that.
TKO.
Yeah. Share the wealth a little bit. Right. Anything else you want for this week, or that's good for this weekend?
The only other game I'm looking at is the NBA, and like Charlotte. So McCallum and Ingram are out for New Orleans, the Pelicans. Still 2.5. I think it's going to rise, close at 3.5 to 4. I just don't think New Orleans has enough firepower here. So lay the 2.5. I think we might see a double-digit win here. Charlotte Hornets tonight.
I'll send you some pictures tonight. I'm going up to it's around Miami Airport where they do it. Eagle FC. That's Khabib Nurmagomedov's promotion, and probably will be a squash match in the main event. Kevin Lee, who recently had a good run in the UFC against Diego Sanchez, who's like 10 years past his prime. I
Yep.
love Diego Sanchez. I hope he doesn't get smashed tonight, but I know the folks at Eagle FC, they put on good shows, and so I'm looking forward to it. But it'll be interesting tonight. I'll send you some pictures. Lee
All right,
Sterling.
buddy. You have a good one. All right.
You too, man. ParamountSports.com is his website. Paramount Sports on Twitter. The great Lee Sterling, the man, the myth, the legend himself. I love it. I'm going to throw shout-outs in a minute to everybody in the chat. Hello, my guy Trevor. There's two Trevors in the chat. We got TH from the 203. We got Trevor Gaffney in here as well. All the Trevors are in. So, all right. So what you guys want to do? You just heard some amazing sports betting picks for tonight and tomorrow from our guy, Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. You want to take those picks to BetUS.com, the official sports book of Donno Daily. I can't tell you how great of a partner they've been for us for the last 9-10 months. I think 9 months BetUS.com has been with us. But guys, they've been with me on my show for the last 9 months. I've been using BetUS.com even long before they came aboard, a year or more. They have excellent customer service. I find it, especially you can deposit with credit card. If you're a crypto head like I am, it's extremely easy to use BetUS.com. Maybe you get into crypto, even if you're not, you can use a credit card to sign up and make your deposit. Folks, this is a full service sports book. It's fully available in the state of Florida. I know not everybody who watches us is from Florida. Most of you are. So if you're unclear, because I know people are like, oh, wait, what apps can I use in Florida? Not use. You can use BetUS.com in Florida. They make it so easy. It's a full service sports book and live betting on all of it. Every single pick Lee Sterling made, you can make those picks for yourself at BetUS.com. UFC fights, NBA games, college basketball games, NHL, pro football when they're in season, baseball, which is going to be in season pretty soon, actually. They came to a deal this week. You can bet it all, plus live betting on all of it. Soccer as well, international soccer, MLS soccer. I'm in on all that. BetUS.com, America's favorite sports book, the 3-decade leader. When you sign up at BetUS.com, make sure you use our code. When you check out, when you make your deposit, they're going to ask you, do you have a promo code? Yes, you do. Write it down, jot it down if that'll help you remember. 5RSN125. Type in our promo code, 5RSN125. Not only does our show get credit for it, we would appreciate that, but you get a huge bonus. Biggest bonus in the industry, 125%. They're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus with our code, 5RSN125. So if you deposit $100, they're going to give you $125 in free play money on top of your deposit. You will not find another deal like that anywhere in the sports betting industry. BetUS.com. They also have a full casino right there on the site. You can play table games. I play blackjack on there for real money, slot games. It's so much fun. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. And we're brought to you by the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill, the official sports bar of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Guys, they have, just so you know, you just missed one this past weekend, but there's always more. UFC 273 coming up, 274, 275, and so on. You can watch every UFC pay-per-view fight at the Quarterdeck for zero cover charge. You pay nothing at the door while you're there watching the big game or the big fight, because they got TVs covering every wall. It's so much fun. You can enjoy the delicious seafood. And I love to build my own poke bowl. I love the sushi. The buffalo shrimp is my favorite appetizer. The fresh mahi, it's mouth-watering, guys. Sandwiches and burgers, awesome salads. The baby back ribs are fantastic. 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. It's a great place to wet your whistle. The beer is always cold at the Quarterdeck. You're going to make friends when you go out there. The people out there are so nice. The service is great. You got to check it out. If you haven't been out there or you want to go out there again, you want to find the location nearest to you. Locations all over Broward County, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Visit their website. You can check their menu there as well. QuarterdeckRestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. I don't know why I wanted to sing at the end of both of those. I don't know, man. Sometimes you feel musical. Tony, 2 times. He's excited for baseball. Marlins can't wait to see Sixto pitch after being injured last season. Oh, wait. Never mind. We got Chris, the Finns tailgate is in. Glad I don't have to put money on my BetUS account. Your boy's up right now. Yeah, listen, man, you got you're going to be up after this weekend. And Lee Sterling, I forgot to mention with him, his UFC picks for the pay-per-view last week were excellent. I think he went like 5 for 7 or something like that. Like my account was sitting pretty after locking in Lee Sterling's UFC picks last week. So make sure you check those out. Hello again to both Trevors, TH from the 203, Trevor Gaffney as well. This is always bet against hate. I know Trevor Gaffney. I know he's a big fan of the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. He won a gift card months ago on the show. He went out there, he enjoyed himself. So I hope you can get out there again. Level 2 noob, thank you so much. Dallas Mavericks winning the title. Don't even bother debating it, he says. My guy David is in. He's talking about the woman who we didn't give a great verdict to. Let's see that woman end up in the chat. She's more than welcome. Although I feel like if she were in here, she may not smash the like button. She might smash the dislike button. I don't want any of you guys to do that. If you're in here, whether you're watching us live right now or you watch us via replay later on, doesn't matter when, do us a favor. Yes, and Manny is in here now, by the way. Our guy Manny Chang, smash the like button, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 5 Reasons Sports. And tell your friends, I'm back. I'm not in Jamaica, which I was about a month ago or 3 weeks ago. I'm not in the jury box like I was for the last 4 days. I am here. I'm here. I'm living the life, and I'm loving him. I'm out there, Jerry, and I'm loving every minute of it. Let's see. Who else? Who else is in? Yeah, and Manny's not in the woods today. That was Wednesday. I forget. I forget what day it is because it's been a weird week for me. 1.9 million. Yeah, that's what she was trying to win in the lawsuit. That was a lot of money they were asking for. 1.9 million. 1.9 million. Our guy Devin Jordan says, "Don't spoil the Batman movie because I haven't seen it." I would never spoil it. I saw it in theaters last Saturday. I want to see it again. Yeah, I thought it was excellent. It was probably even more of like a detective movie than it was a superhero movie. I didn't have any problem with that because we've all seen 10,000 superhero movies because there's a new superhero movie out in theaters every 3 days because Disney makes like 5,000 of those a year. So I didn't mind a little bit of a change of pace. Okay. And I thought I like the fact that it was because you don't see this a whole lot, like a gritty R-rated superhero movie. There was a lot of language you're not going to see with the Marvel films. And I thought it was really well done. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it. I thought it was fantastic. It is very long. Like some people complain, the running time is about 2 hours, 55 minutes. A very long movie. There were a couple maybe minor plot points that I thought were a little bit unnecessary that maybe could have made it a little bit shorter, but I never got bored. Like I didn't for me, when a movie is too long, I'm just like, why are they still doing this? I'm so bored. I never got bored in this movie. I really enjoyed it. It is long though. I mean, it's not quite as long as The Irishman, but it's getting up there. David thinks I mushed everybody in the courtroom. Listen, if you're trying to win money and I show up in your jury, it may not be a good omen. And I went in completely with an open mind. I didn't know anything about the case. Completely with an open mind, no biases whatsoever. It was a tough one. Let's see who else. Who else have I not shouted out yet? Let me see here. Indeed, don't trade for running back or wide receiver. I think I'm on board with you on that. I think I'm on board. With Amari Cooper, it doesn't sound to me like the Dolphins want to trade for him. I think the Dolphins are on standby in case he gets released. I think that's what the Dolphins are doing. Like they're interested in Amari Cooper, but they're not interested in giving up assets for him because they know the Cowboys need his salary off their books. Like Dallas is trying to trade him because they'd rather get something for him than lose him for nothing. But the Dolphins, I think, would only go after him if he was released, not traded. And yeah, I don't see why the Dolphins would trade for a running back. If you're going to trade for anybody, it would be an offensive lineman. You trade for either of the Cowboys players. You might trade for Lyle Collins or you might trade for Amari Cooper. Well, actually, no, you wouldn't even trade for Amari. You're not trading for a running back. You're absolutely right about that. He says Breece Hall would likely be the target in the second round. Tape matches his athleticism. I like that. Huge thanks to favorite name, PGA Tour Tua. Amari Cooper will be bored with our offense. Let's see. Will he be bored with Tua if he's not getting enough looks? Because he is. I guess it's easy. Like, you only have to run like 2-yard routes when Tua is your quarterback. Oh, here I go again. I'm not really a hater. I love Tua. He's my favorite player in. He's my favorite left-handed quarterback in the league currently. Not ever, but currently he's my favorite left-handed quarterback in the NFL. Brooklyn Rob, huge shout out. And by the way, he's right. You guys remember the Seinfeld episode when Kramer and Newman were playing Risk, and Kramer kicking Newman's ass in Risk, but all Newman had a stronghold in the Ukraine, and Kramer said, Ukraine is weak. It's not weak. Ukraine is strong. And then there was the guy from the Ukraine in the subway train who got very angry. Ukraine is strong. And he was right. He was 100% right. Cap for Life, thank you so much for the super chat again. We appreciate that. Bo Leg, thank you so much. And yeah, we talked about this right at the top of the show. So anybody who tuned in even 2 minutes into the show or 4 minutes into the show probably missed this. But yeah, we did. Thank you for flashing this up there in case anyone didn't see it or didn't hear it. Dolphins play second round tender on restricted free agent Nick Needham. He'll be re-signed, or I don't understand the second half of that, but they did put aside. He's going to end up staying, very likely. Caesar, thank you so much for tuning in. JP on sports, thank you so much. Let's see who else. I think I may have already shouted out Chris. When I see a lot of the same people in the chat. I'm like, who did I shout out? Who didn't I shout out? I know I didn't shout out Roy yet. And Roy, by the way, this show, we're big in Scotland. They love us in Scotland. Roy is from Scotland. For those who, if you've ever listened to the Florida Panthers radio broadcast, which I used to be a part of, I used to do the pregame intermissions and postgame on there. We do the world famous Twitter segment. Our guy Roy, who lives in Scotland, he loves the Florida Panthers, and he stays up very late to watch their games, and he tweets the broadcast, and it's great. So between Roy in Scotland, Andy in Scotland, Andy's son Lewis, who also listens to us, we've got probably, after the USA, the good old USA, we probably have more listeners in Scotland or viewers in Scotland than any other country. And we appreciate you guys. We really do. Big Dan 305. Thank you, sir, for welcoming me back. It's been interesting the whole week being on a jury and all that. And I know, like, people dread jury duty, and I understand it. And like a bunch of people, like, you got to give them this excuse, that excuse, just like basically tell them you're a horrible person. You can't be objective. It's like, it's not worth going that far to get out of it. Like, the experience, I think, enriched my life. I think it did. Going through a case, going through a trial, deliberating on a verdict, kind of seeing the way the whole court proceedings play out. Like, if there's anybody in here who like has a legal background, it may not be that interesting to you because it's your life. Like if you're a paralegal or something and whatever. But from a guy like me, who the only thing I know about legal proceedings is basically television, right? TV shows and movies. I thought going through it in real life, it was interesting. It's something I will never forget for the rest of my life, right? Maybe I'll serve on another jury someday. Maybe I won't, but I will never forget the experience. And I learned a lot from it, man. I learned a lot. Andres, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. And I think that might be it for the shout outs. If I missed anybody, probably did. Apologies. Didn't do it on purpose. I scroll through manually. Want to shout out Manny. Can you pop yourself on the screen for a second? I don't know if he's at work or something, but I wanted to see Manny's beautiful face. He might be busy just behind the scenes, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see Manny Chang, his avatar at the very least. That's my guy. That is my dude. Oh yeah, he says he can't. He's at work. Don't worry about it. People don't want to see you anyway, bro. I'm just kidding. People love you. They don't want to. I was about to say they just don't want to see your shoes. And then there are the shoes. There they are. All right. I'll see you guys Monday, I guess. It's already Friday. Like, my week just started and now it's just ending. I'll see you guys on Monday. In case you don't already, follow me on Twitter. You'll see some of my nonsense on there. It's just my name. It's at Alex Donno. Donno spelled Donno. And we will talk to you guys Monday. Make sure you support our sponsors, by the way, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill, betus.com. Sign up with our code 5RSN125 for the best bonus in the industry, 125% sign-up bonus. And we will talk to you guys Monday on another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.